An emotional vampire is a person who drains the emotional energy of others to fulfill their own needs, often leaving their victims feeling exhausted and depleted. These individuals thrive on chaos, negativity, or drama, seeking out those who exhibit empathy or a nurturing spirit. They operate on a level that exploits your own emotional energy, making you feel responsible for their moods or problems. The concept of emotional vampirism and energy draining is just one example of the many things happening outside our conscious awareness. Exploring vampirism, from my perspective, is a crucial aspect of self-reflection and expanding one's awareness. By shining a light on this phenomenon, we can recognize its presence within ourselves and others. Only then can we take steps towards making positive changes. Understanding how emotional vampires work is important. They often employ manipulation tactics, such as guilt tripping or playing the victim, to elicit sympathy and keep you tethered to their emotional state. Over time, their presence can lead to a feeling of emotional fatigue, creating a cycle of dependency that's hard to break. Ever wondered why vampires seem to be so prevalent these days? Well, the simple answer lies in the realm of trauma. The amount of trauma someone experiences during their formative years can heavily influence how much of a vampire they become later on. People often turn into emotional or energy vampires because they learned these behaviors from their parents, who likely displayed them frequently. As the saying goes, in psychology, what remains unresolved tends to recur. Since this trauma typically occurs before our conscious minds fully develop, we may not even be aware of the hardships we faced. Our bodies, however, retain that knowledge at an unconscious level. And until our conscious minds catch up with this reality, our unconscious selves may keep replaying that same trauma onto others. Another key reason behind the prevalence of energy vampires is that many of us are running on empty energetically and are not in harmony within ourselves. When our subtle energy fields become disturbed, it's almost instinctual for us to inadvertently feed off each other, restoring our energy field to stop leakage. When our vitality shield is at its peak, we are invincible. However, when a gap or crack appears in our barrier, typically occurring in early stages of life, we become vulnerable to different influences. This concept bears resemblance to the microcosmic and macrocosmic orbits found in Taoist traditions. The microcosmic orbit pertains to the region of the torso, whereas the macrocosmic orbit flows throughout and around the entirety of the body. What trauma does to our energetic fields. The impact of trauma on our energy fields is profound. When we enter the world, we are whole and complete, with our energy fields intact. However, right from the start, often in the hospital setting, our fields face challenges. It's eye-opening to watch The Business of Being Born documentary for a glimpse into how things can go awry early on. Each instance of trauma we experience, whether it's the doctor's slap at birth or absorbing negative emotions from our caregivers, disrupts our energy fields. This disruption leaves us feeling less than whole and vulnerable to energetic drains from others. In turn, we may unknowingly become sources of draining energy ourselves. Why we take the light from each other. When I mention light, I'm referring to the admirable qualities present in each individual. The act of taking inspiration from one another often stems from a sense of personal inadequacy. It's a feeling of lacking something essential. It's not uncommon for fathers and even working mothers to inadvertently absorb light from their families. Furthermore, friendships also involve instances where individuals draw inspiration from one another. For example, the popular and attractive girl in high school often maintains a close relationship with a less confident or less conventionally appealing friend. Otherwise, you may find yourself grappling with her inner doubts and vulnerabilities. Empower yourself to reach greater heights, increase your earnings, boost your popularity and influence. Experience a sense of fulfillment by assisting others. Enhance your skills, self-assurance, and strength.